take some risk and go for, for a point guard. Hello, good afternoon. This is your host once again, Taiwan Ojobi on Lanonasis Maple Sports. We like a lot of unfiltered opinions, sharp analysis, and some big love for Canadian hoops and ice. Today we're going to be breaking down the NBA. Earlier I've had the opportunity of doing some kind of ranking for the Eastern Conference, and I just want to do this purely for the Western Conference because each of them deserve their flowers for how their performance has been so far. So this analysis has been done in the afternoon. And earlier, I forgot to say today is a good day. Take a chance. Have some fun, sing your heart out, and make a difference across board. However, the Western Conference is a bit different. The analysis is going to go because the Western Conference has been much stronger than the Eastern Conference this season. They have more points compared to performances. Teams in the Western Conference have played a bit better than their counterparts in the Eastern Conference, and that's why you can see the disparity across in the table. The Western Conference. Best team Oklahoma has just lost 10 games this season, which shows that they are very vibrant. They know what they are doing. They've won 37 games and they've lost only 10. So I've also had a tiering of championship contenders for tier one and other members that, have what it takes to be able to challenge in the postseason. And let's just dive right into it without wasting so much time. For the Western Conference, we have a tier one, which is Oklahoma City Thunder. Everybody was expecting this. In every ranking you can think of, even across ESPN and other major sports network, you see Oklahoma as number one across all different metrics. They are 37 of 10, which means they've won 37 and lost 10. They've been losing a couple of matches in the last few weeks. That also shows that they are human as well. Their second best player is also injured with a knee injury. Hopefully, he's back before the postseason. And they are 0.787, very, very good performance. And they are plus 12.9 in differential. I think they are still the only team on double digits of differential so far, which means that they scored significantly more points than they have allowed. So they are completely dominating the league, and that's the best record in the NBA. Shout out to them. They are 28-6 in their conference. They own the West basically because they've beaten almost everything we expect them to beat. They've struggled a bit with their kryptonite, which is the San Antonio Spurs, but they've been able to figure out a way to at least get one win out of them. They are 120.8 on points per game, but they've allowed 107.9, which means that they are doing so well. Elite offense and elite defense. They are the most complete team in the league right now. They have wings. They have a good point guard. They also have true centers. Even though right now it's only Chet that they are getting a lot of his services. But at least before the end of the season, they'll be able to get all their good hands back. And they have a couple of young guys that are playing at a very high level. Shout out to them and their identity that they're trying to bring. They're trying to form a new dynasty in the league, and we're excited about that. And that's why this season I see them getting to the final again. The only thing is there are a couple of teams that we've seen during the season in the West that can upset them. And once they're able to get J-Dub back, get all their young guys at 100%, they should be able to challenge once again. San Antonio is my number two. These are contending teams within my tier one. San Antonio are 31 of 15 with a 0.674 on very much above 500, and they are plus 5 on their differential. Even though they are single digits, this one's the San Antonio have, allowed a bit more points than the Oklahoma City team. They are 16-6 at home, 14 of 9 away, which is very balanced. And they are 7 of 3 in their last 10. So they are trending upward. The identity is they are young, disciplined, and they are rising fast. We have Dylan Harper playing at a very high level. We have Harrison Barnes, who is a veteran, but is still supporting the team in all directions. We have Victor Wembanyama. It would be injustice if I don't talk about him. He's having one of the best seasons, of this time. But one thing I notice about him is he wants to be able to stay healthy before the postseason. So he's a bit careful. His amount of blocks at the rim have reduced because it kind of exposes him to a lot of injuries as well. So what I'm seeing with him is trying a bit careful not to get injured. So what I see is he goes for blocks that are easy going, but he's not attacking the rim or even making blocks, across the rim like he started earlier in the season before the injuries. So right now he's a bit more careful. I think they are working on him getting the right conditioning so that he can play longer in the postseason. And, that's where resilience comes in. And, if the coaching staff and the medical staff are able to work together, that kind of talent we want to be able to see him in the postseason, show us what he's made of and how he's going to be able to change the narratives. Denver, they are 31-15, playing so well. Their big man is also injured. Jokic has not been able to play for a while. But even without him, they are getting out the result. It means that they are deeper than the Pacific Ocean. They are 0.674 and they are number 3 on my championship list. They are plus 4.5 on differential, which means they are defending at a high level as well. They are 19 of 7 away, so they've lost more games away than at home. And that's why they are probably still number 3 because they should be higher than the San Antonio Spurs. And their game travels have, they are better than almost everyone. If you even look at their 19-7, they're almost better than everyone. They are 7 of 3 in their last 10, so it means they are hitting up. They have a lot of veteran presence. And just like I've always said, Jamal Murray is healthy at this time around. And it's helping them to be playoff ready. They are playing with high IQ. They are very efficient. And that's why I feel that they're going to make a lot of noise this season. So that's just all for my tier 1 and the Western Conference. A lot of things can still change, but watch out for the movement month in, month out. Tier 2, we have strong playoff teams. These are teams that have what it takes to be able to go on some runs, which we are not surprised about, and they can just come back and become a much better team. The Houston Rockets fall within the tier 2 for me, and they are number 4 on my list. They're 28 of 16. Don't sleep on this team. With a Kevin Durant that is playing with a lot of joy. I like to call it Jesus joy. So they are 0.636. And generally, if you look at the way they are playing now, they have an operation going playing very, very well. He's back from a minor injury. And they're plus 6.2 on differential, a very good defensive team. And they're 16 of 3 at home. They have good home court advantage as well. And they're 12 of 13 away. So that's where the inconsistency is coming from. They're playing a lot of teams. They are not as explosive at home. Away as they have been at home. So they are young, but they are getting that stability that I talk about is beginning to come back to them. And they have what it takes because Kevin Durant is playing with a lot of joy. But there's also a flip side, and there's something Ime Udoka said. And I like to just say the way he said it a few months ago. He said, they don't want to be able to run this team such that they start to depend on a 36-year-old so much that deep in the playoffs, they now start to see that they cannot do without him. So it's beginning to give that level of independence. The only problem the team does not have is, the only problem the team has right now is they don't have a veteran point guard. So everybody's sharing the responsibility of bringing the ball, bringing the floor general. Amen has done a bit of that. Kevin Durant is doing a bit of that. Operation Shengun has done a bit of that. But if they had, a Van Vliet that was healthy because he had an injury, in the postseason and it was so painful, they would have been able to compete at a very high level. And because right now they're also going to, be giving some contracts in the summer, they'll be giving some contracts to I think Amen. I'm not sure, but I was just checking that they are probably going to negotiate how some contracts are going to go for other members of the team. And that's why they are still not being able to, take some risk and go for, for a point guard, within the league that can support Rich Shepard and help them, just push through the postseason. But right now they decided to stick with Rich Shepard and, stay resilient with their flow and see how they can challenge. So number 6 on my list on tier 2 is the Minnesota Timberwolves. They will continue to be a team that will challenge. They're playing differently. Within the last 3-4 years, they've, gone up in rankings in the Western Conference, with Anthony Edwards leading the team at a very high level. They're 28 of 17. They are 0.622, plus 0.1 on differential. But they are basically being known for defensive grit. They are more of a defensive team, but they are not doing well on the defensive side this season. So that's why I feel that they need to be able to improve on that. And similarly, the Los Angeles Lakers too fall within this group as well, who are 28 and 17 points, 0.622 as well. Oh, sorry. I take that back. The Los Angeles Lakers are 28 of 17, and they are the 0.622 with a plus 0.1 differential. And so it means that they are just, for me, they are more of the average amongst the Kings. So if you're looking at the teams that can challenge, they are just somewhere in the middle. There are some games that they go very hot and some games they go very cold. So they win close games and they lose big games. Yeah, that's exactly the best way to qualify how they've performed. In their last 10 games, they've won 6 out of 10 and they've lost 4. So they're trending upward. They still have a veteran, especially if you have a LeBron James on your team. Even though he's aging, you can still make some noise. You have Luka Doncic, and you have a few pieces around. The Austin Reeves would be 100% by the time they're approaching postseason, and they may be able to make some noise, but they are not my contenders. They don't look like a team that can win championship just yet. Minnesota Timberwolves, who are closely similar to the Los Angeles Lakers, are 28 of 19, and they are 0.589, which is they are clearly over a 500 team with plus 4.7 in differential, and that's what I expected. They are defending a bit better than the Los Angeles Lakers. They are 119 on points per game on elite scoring, and they are 114.03 on points allowed. So there's even though they are not as consistent as they used to be, because they are being known for defensive. Their defense hardly collapsed. They were just one of the few teams that their defense would never collapse. But right now, it looks like their defense is not as good as before, and that's why they are in my tier 2. They should be in my tier 1 if their defense was as good as like 2 years ago. So there's a lot of limits. There's a lot of growth. There's possibility for growth for them. And, I just want to see them at the top. For my tier 3, we have a playoff bubble. So these are teams that can surprise everybody. You never can tell. The Phoenix Suns, don't play on them. Don't sleep on this team. They're 27 of 19. They're 8 of 4 in their division. They're strong in their immediate matchups. And they've been able to surprise me in their performance against some teams. They're 9 of 15 away, so they have some road issues. Their aging been very competitive. So they are a bit similar to um, I would say that this team is a bit similar to what the Rockets are going through. Smaller, smaller guards, but very, very competitive. And they have younger guys as well. Dylan Brooks is the major X factor in this team. He has improved their defense. And right now, they still don't have Jalen with them yet. So if Jalen should join them, then they will now be a monster of a team. They are 6 of 4 in their last 10, and they are good, but they are not great. So let's just say it's a very good team, but not a great team, and that's why they're in my tier 3. The Golden State Warriors follow the Phoenix Suns just behind them with 26 and 22. Obviously, they are an over 500 team. They are plus 2.6 in their differential, but they have just suffered an injury to Jimmy Butler, and they are going through a tough building stage with Jonathan Kuminga that has asked for a trade. A lot of road issues coming up for them. They are aging very competitive, but they definitely cannot go beyond the first round if they continue the way they are. If they trade for Jonathan Kuminga and they get some pieces back, maybe it can change the narratives because they want to be able to take advantage of a Steph Curry's prime. Steph Curry is still playing at a very high level, and he has been in the league for 17 years. So he probably still has a 2-year, 3-year window before he retires. If he's going to be having a 2 or 3-year window and he decides to stay with the Golden State Warriors and is not going anywhere, the organization they owe it to him to be able to put themselves together and just put some pieces around him to see if they can go for a run. Because if he's not injured and is very healthy, he would always produce and give them maximum scoring across board, especially from far. They are 17 and 7 at home. They're still a tough team, but they are 9 of 15 away. So that's the major problem they have. Portland Trail Blazers have been a big surprise for me. They've gone on some streaks. They've won a couple of games that showed that, they can really compete in the postseason. I remember Dame is still injured. They just got some guys back from injury. They just got Holiday. Holiday just came back, Drew Holiday, and a few other players just came back from injuries. And they're still showing that they can compete at a very high level. A couple of things we just need to change. They are 23 of 24, so it's just one match that takes them back to a 500 team, and they are minus 1.9 on differential. So it means that they're just slightly, I'll call them average team. I don't want to call them slightly average. They have some few playoff veterans that have won two, like if you have a junior leader on your team that has won two championships with two different teams, Boston and Milwaukee, it shows that he can still drive the team and push them. Dame has also played on Milwaukee. Dame has played at very high level, all-star level, or, all NBA. He can still come back in and, give the team a bit of a boost. So that's why they're still on my tier 3, but they have what it takes to make a lot of noise between now and immediately after the All-Star games as well. The LA Clippers falling here, but I like what I'm seeing. They are beginning to trend upwards. Right now, they're the hottest team in the league since the drama that started with Chris Paul. They've been the hottest team in the league. As at the 26th, they were 21 of 24, but as at today, which is because this was prepared as at the 26th of January, they were 21 of 24. But right now, they are 22 of 24 because they won against the Utah Jazz. They are, 0.467, which means they just need to win two more games to be a 500 team. They are minus 0.4 in differential, which means their defense is improving. They've won their last two. They are 8 of 2 in their last 10, and that's really good. They are one of the hottest teams presently now in the West, and they are surging, dangerous. If they keep that momentum, they'll be able to beat any team in front of them. So they have what it takes. Tier 4 is, for me, I consider them teams that are outside that are looking in. Some of the teams within this category may have given up, and they may not even have the right pieces to be able to go for any trades, in this January window. The Dallas Mavericks have made a lot of mistakes. A lot of mistakes. They're 19 of 27, a lot of injuries. They are 0.413 and they're minus 2.2 on differential. I really pity them because they've been through a lot. They are 14 and 12 at home and they're 5 of 14 away. They've collapsed on the road. And they are talented, but they are flawed. A lot of their good players are still injured. Kyrie Irving is not even sure when he's coming back, whether he's going to be back immediately after the All-Star games. Because at the beginning of the season, it was clear that he will be back sometime in March, but we're not even sure at this time. And Anthony Davis, the team is beginning to entertain talks around him moving away from the team to see if they can get some pieces for him. He's also injured right now, and I don't know if he will even play a game ever this season anymore. So they've been through a lot, and their GM has been been in the news for a couple of weeks. Their former GM is still in the news about how he was able to take some bad decisions that led them to where they are presently. But I really wish them the best as they continue to build, because it's a team that it still has talent. They still have what it takes. That's the same team that got to the final against Boston Celtics. But, since then, they've not really had that same identity because a couple of moves have, gone away from the team. So the other disappointing team that falls within my tier 4 are the Memphis Grizzlies. They are 18 of 26, 0.409, and they are minus 1.2 in differential. The problem with this team is they've not been able to get Ja Morant's head to be clear enough, because that is still the most talented player in the team. And Jared Jackson Jr. is still not playing at a very high level. And now, they've allowed a lot of their good pieces to go, because they felt that, Ja Morant would be able to, get them there. Ja Morant is still not shooting effectively this season. He's had a couple of injuries. He has had some off-the-court issues. He has also had some disciplinary issues. And they're still 3 of 7 in their last 10. So they are sliding downwards. They are inconsistent. They have a lot of young guys that are coming up on this team as well. But despite that, they cannot really, I don't even think that they will get into the play this season. So they'll probably just have to build for next season. I listened to Ja Morant saying that, he wants to stay. He wants to stay in the city. He wants to stay in Memphis. He doesn't want to go anywhere. And his identity has always been known there. And he has also brought a lot of fan base communities together within Tennessee. And he just wants to stay there. He has not known any other places since he joined the Grizzlies. So hopefully they're able to make a good decision on whether to keep him or not. But from what I'm saying, they need to try and see if they can get some good pieces for him. He has a lot of off-the-court drama, as far as I'm concerned. Let him go and get some good pieces for him and, just bid him farewell. And, the funniest part of the league right now is a lot of players are not as valuable as they were last season. If it was probably 2 seasons ago, you could say Ja Morant would be able to command a significant amount of talent coming back to, Memphis. But right now, with Anthony Davis dropping in value, with Jamoran dropping in value, it's now very difficult for you to be able to see teams that would want to go out of their way to give you what you are demanding from them to be able to get a player like Jamoran and Anthony Davis. So the reality of the league is changing. Players that were highly valued 2-3 years ago are not that kind of value right now, especially if you're looking like a Mikel Bridges that got about 5 picks. Right now, you can't even get those kind of picks anymore. And, so there's now a risk of, okay, what would he really command? Looking at the trade that happened with the Washington Wizards trying to go for Trae Young, what they got to me was not valuable enough. But with the way it's going, it's just the reality of what we have on ground. Utah Jazz, that's a team that fall within the tanking community. They are 15 of 31. They are 0.326. They are -8.8 on differential. They were still defeated by the LA Clippers yesterday. And they are 119 points per goals allowed. They've allowed too many points. Their defense doesn't really have an identity. And they are more in the tanking mode, which is the rebuild mode. And, I wish them all the best as they go on. Even though George is playing at a very high level, a new talent. So what happens is talents are being identified during crisis. So George is a guy that I've been watching, and is really, really playing well during this season. I wish him the best. Hopefully, if they continue their rebuild mode next season, some teams will start coming for conversations to get George over to their side. Sacramento Kings are 12 of 35. They should not be here. They are 0.255, which means they're not even anywhere close to the teams in my tier 3, and that's why they're in tier 4. They are not anywhere close. They are 4 of 6 in their last 10, which is still better than, where they were at the beginning of the season. They've lost 5. And right now they're struggling. I'm sorry, they've lost 6 of their last 10. Now they're struggling, and their identity is they have to be within the tanking community as well. It's a regression year for them. They should just start planning for next year. They have some good pieces, good players. DeMar DeRozan is also on this team. If you guys, Westbrook is also on this team. So they still have some talent that they can just start to build for next season. The New Orleans Pelicans are the dead last team, in the Western Conference. They are 12 of 36, 0.250, very, very poor. They are -6.7 differential. Even though they went through a coaching change, we've really not seen, any bite yet. But we never can tell. They are still overall one of the poorest teams in the league. They are not competitive, but we just hope that next season they can be bold enough to let Zion go and see if they can bring in some picks and some talents coming all the way to New Orleans. They've been able to get some talents to come their way, but they've also let some talents go. And that's the narrative will continue to exist in the league. And for me, I came up with some macro teams. I decided to just put them on the screen to give you an idea of the direction of Western Conference generally and the Eastern Conference. The West is top heavy. They are much better than the Eastern Conference. And the West presently have the Oklahoma City, San Antonio Spurs, and Denver as the true elites. These are teams that are going to fight it out in the postseason. And I really can't wait. The East only has Detroit and Boston, and then a huge competitive middle. So Detroit and Boston, if you had watched their match this season, they won by 104 to 103. Piston won by 104 to 103. And the major X factor was Duncan Robinson with his threes. The Boston team, they are still shooting threes at a very high level. So watch out for them. But those are the only two teams that kind of just feel that, they can rattle each other out. Every other team is the middle of the pack in the East. If you look at the point differential that reveals a bit of some kind of secret or hidden truth, rather, Charlotte are plus 1.3 and is better than their record. Lakers are plus 0.1 and there is worse than their record as well. And OKC is plus 12.9, which is an historical dominant number. So it means that these things just gives you something to think about. These numbers gives you something to think about. Looking at road performance that separates the contenders from the teams that I call the pretenders. Denver are 19-7 away, elite performance away from home. Toronto was 16-9 away, which is underrated. Nobody's talking about the Toronto team. They've won 16 games out of 25 away. That's very, very good. Orlando, Chicago, and Dallas, they have some road problems, but they still have high capabilities to make a lot of noise in the postseason. So for teams that are in playoff chaos, that are continue to they continue to be in this playoff chaos in both conferences, are teams from 6 to 8. You understand? That place will continue to change because there's a dogfight going there, and a lot of things will continue to change because they're fighting for 7 to 10 and playing sports. So that's basically how it is on the Western Conference. Thank you very much for staying to the end. Once again, this is Taiwo Onajobi, brought you some premium sports. Thank you for, giving us that love. Make sure that you comment, share, and give us all the love as possible. Peace. Thank you.